The 5 loudest clubs I've ever watched live, and what I say right now is the final 5. I'm sorry if your club isn't mentioned, it's not good enough. Now, I'm very grateful with my job, with this YouTube channel. I've been to football clubs on every corner of the earth. Now, we're not going to be involving any national team, so before you Moroccans start writing, look, maybe we'll do that in a future video. And if you don't know already, I'm a Bolton fan, I'm English, I won't be mentioning any England or Bolton games in this video. And the 5 clubs I mentioned aren't from 5th to 1st. This is in no particular order, and we begin in Casablanca, Morocco, with Wydad Casablanca, when I watched them in the FIFA Club World Cup first match round against Al Hilal. My God, their fans are incredible. The red and white, I mean, first of all, the flags they've been waving around from the get-go. Once we get into that stand, it felt like there were more people than fans inside there. It was insane. The amount of noise coming from the stand behind the goal. Al Hilal had about 100 fans, and the Casablanca red and white had about 40,000, no joke, and their ultras. When the players were walking out, they had this synchronized hold up all the different colors in front of them. I don't know what it's called. It was like a paper for every fan. They had to pick it up, and it created this full display with this like whole layout that they'd made before the game and told every fan to take it to the stadium. That was the boost. I mean, if I was a player and I saw that, I would be more motivated to go on to win. It's like another manager team talk, but the fans have given it this time. And you see that display, you put the effort, you get it back. And the players worked very hard all the way until the end, and they got a red card and they lost. But still very special atmosphere. And Wydad Casablanca, they have their derby against Raja coming up. Now, people always ask me, are you a Wydad or a Raja fan? I'm neither. I'm a neutral. I support Morocco. Dima Maghrib, but I can't pick a club. I'm sorry. I'm going to stay completely neutral. And the derby is literally in 6 days from today. And I don't know who's going to be louder. So maybe I will have to go to the stadium to judge who has the better fans. How many likes should we... You know what? If we hit 5,000 likes on this video, I will fly to the Casablanca derby in 6 days to find out who is the better fans. Wydad, who I've been to once, or Raja, who I've been to 0 times before. So I'm not going to announce which club has the better fans until I see both of them live. I've been to the Raja Academy and I've seen the Wydad Ultras. But only one can be louder. We will find out in 6 days if I go to the game. 4,000 likes. As I said, in no particular order, the second team I have to mention that has the loudest fans from their club in a match that I've been to and made a video, Red Star Belgrade. We're going over to the capital of Serbia. These boys are just insane. The South Stand, the Delia, the Ultras call themselves, the noise they create inside the Maracana, which is obviously named after the Brazilian Maracana. My days, the derby, the Belgrade derby against Partizan, where do we start? Well, look, the whole... behind the goal, the whole thing was lit up when the players walk out. Red flares all over the gaff. Not just that, fireworks. The fireworks start flying out, they come out of nowhere. When they bounce together, everybody's standing. And the noise it generates, the Delia, these Serbian guys are massive. They're strong. You don't want to mess with them. And when their voices are combined, they create such a roar. And what's so funny about that stadium is the tunnel where the players walk out is under the Delia. It's under the Red Star Ultras. So when they bounce, the tunnel is almost falling on you. And you hear this noise, this roar, the deep voiced roar from those Serbians. It's just like, I was intense. I found it hard to take. And I was in a little section above the stand. I was in the media area, the VIP area. And even there, I was like looking over my shoulder like, bloody, am I all right here? You know, that's the sort of stresses that come with a derby like that in Serbia. One of the best matches in football. And I've been there to witness it when Red Star won. And also I went when there was a 0-0. Let's not forget Partizan, black and white of Belgrade. They were setting fire to the seats because they lost. I'm not joking. They were fighting their own fans. That's how much it means to them. When they lose, they get that aggravated that they can't reach the Red Star because of the amount of the police are in the way and blockages. They can't go there. So they start fighting their own fans. That's how passionate and extreme these derbies go to. It's just on another level. The third game, which I think has the loudest fans at any club I've witnessed, is AC Milan. And they did that when I went to the Milan derby, San Siro. AC Milan were technically at home, even though they share the stadium. They were the home team, so they had more fans. And we were in the middle of that Milan red and black and white section. And it's when they won 3-1, Rafael Leao scored a wonder goal. I think he scored 2 on that day. Actually, only 6-7 months ago. My days, how much noise. I mean, first of all, beginning of the season, if you win or lose, you can still recover in the league. It doesn't really matter. And AC Milan have had a very tough year. But this is when Theo Hernandez and Rafael Leao were fit. Their fans were insane. First of all, look at the tifo. that takes up the whole stand. And the San Siro is very tall. So the amount of effort, the amount of hours put in before the derby from the Curva Sud in efforts to create an amazing display, that must have taken so much time. So easily the best tifo I've ever seen in a stadium live. Now, I've got to give a special mention to Inter as well. I went to a derby where Zlatan, I think, with Lukaku, both scored to beat AC Milan previously, and they created so much noise. It was just insane. So I'm going to give a special mention to AC Milan and Inter. Both on their day can be incredible, but, you know, it's not just about the tifo. When the game kicks off and there's a goal, the whole ground, the roar, the way the stadium's designed, don't get me wrong, San Siro could do with a lick of paint. It could probably get some more investment. You know, the seats are not connected anymore. They need to redo the seats. The toilets, there's always a massive queue to get in. The turnstiles are very thin. There isn't much space to walk around. So there is a lot of efforts that needs to still be put into that stadium. But we're not here to talk about the stadium. The fans is what we're here for, and it was loud in that stadium. When Milan won, it was an eruption. AC Milan, you've made it to the list. What a stadium. By the way, special mention to Italy as well. Napoli, I watched them against Ajax. Their fans were insane, but I think Napoli have had crazier days when I haven't been there, so I'm not going to put them in this list. And the same goes for Frankfurt. I think Frankfurt against Napoli was a really good match, but because they lost, I'm not going to give Frankfurt connection in the stadium. So two teams, Frankfurt and Napoli, they missed out in this because I've not been to their best games as of so. But the next team I'm going to mention is in Germany. So Frankfurt fans, I'm sorry, but it's got to be Borussia Dortmund. And it's when they played Schalke at home. And it has to be that moment where they scored to make it 1-0. I want to say it was, no, Modeste was against Bayern. I forgot who the goal scorer was, but the stadium absolutely erupted. I think it was Moukoko. My days. I mean, first of all, that stadium can hold about 80,000. And you got the Yellow Wall, which has 25,000 fans. When all of those Yellow Wall are standing, bouncing and singing, it's one of the most insane experiences you'll ever witness. I don't know how to describe it. When they're all bouncing in synchronization and giving that Dortmund powerful chant. I mean, that is a 12th man in itself. Erling Haaland spoke very passionately about it. Jude Bellingham doesn't want to leave because he loves that club so much. And it is a big fans. You know, the fans are a part of that. And when the derby comes around against Schalke, my God, on one side you've got yellow flares taking off over the pitch, and then on the other you've got blue smoke coming from all over the place. My day, that's one of the best games I've ever witnessed. Definitely one of the loudest when Moukoko scored to make it 1-0. And in fairness, when I went to Schalke, that 2-2 draw was also electric. So big up Schalke fans too. I've got to respect both sides, guys. The fifth team I'm going to have to mention that has some of the loudest atmosphere at their stadium, it's Marseille, and it's not against PSG. I didn't go to that game, I probably should have. It's Marseille against Feyenoord in the Conference League semi-final second leg. Don't get me wrong, they lost. And if you looked at the news, you probably wouldn't have seen much about this game, but being in the stadium, oh my God. UEFA Mafia, the tifo they created, where it said UEFA Mafia, and then the whole thing lit up into red smoke. It was a red all over behind the goal. And then they lost the game and the tear gas was let off and it leaked into the stadium. All the fans were like, hold it. I swear we were going back in time. Marseille is some of the most emotional, dramatic fans in the world. But then you're playing Feyenoord, who are arguably the best fans in the Netherlands. I mean, Ajax fans would hate me to say that, but Feyenoord and Ajax are both incredible. Feyenoord are a bit more nutty, shall we say, on the go. Their fans, I mean, the noise they were creating at that match when they won, and they won, you know, they went through to the Conference League final who played Roma, which they went on to lose. But that was such a vital game to make a European final inside the Velodrome. Jeez, they loved it. And apparently it kicked off between the fans before and after the game. Police were involved. As I said, tear gas all over the gaff. One of the best atmospheres I've seen at a stadium. So the list includes Wydad Casablanca, Red Star Belgrade, AC Milan, Borussia Dortmund and Marseille. But the one match I'm going to give number one place, Galatasaray. I haven't even had this on my notes. I've just thought about it now. When I went to Galatasaray against Barcelona, yes, in the Europa League, that was the loudest match I have ever been to. Now, if you look this up, Galatasaray has the loudest fans in the world. They create decibels that no stadium in the world has ever done. Now, constantly, Besiktas and Galatasaray are fighting over who has the better fans, and Fenerbahce too, in the mix. Who creates the most decibels, who's the loudest. But from my personal experience, I can only talk about Galatasaray as I've only been to Istanbul for that match. And I don't know how to describe it. They just all whistle when they're off the ball. When they're on the ball, they're constantly making noise in your face. All the fans are packed in. It's one of the best atmospheres I've ever seen. And not just that, I think the loudest I've ever witnessed. Now, I've got to give a special mention to Morocco here because in 6 days' time, I might be flying back to Casablanca for the derby. So I think Galatasaray is about to lose its first place from loudest clubs that I've witnessed, because that game, when you have Wydad and Raja, you've got two crazy fan bases. It's the only derby in the world where there isn't a 5% rule for away fans. It's 50%. They split the stadium between home and away. Now, any club that does this, they ban it. In Italy, they can't do this anymore because fans would kick off. In the Old Firm in Scotland, they didn't allow this. I've got to give a special mention to Celtic and Rangers, by the way, but I haven't been to an Old Firm yet that's been insane. Maybe in the future, I'd love to tick that one off. I've got to give it to them on their day. They're very special, but this is a very elite list. So Celtic and Rangers deserve a mention. But they have a ban. They can never have away fans in the home stadium more than 2% now. Forget 5%. They only have like 2,000 or 3,000 fans out of potential 60k now. They've kept making it smaller because there's too many fights, too many problems. But in Morocco, they found a way to still have a split. They share the stadium in Casablanca. It's going to be electric if I go. Comment below. If I get 4,000 likes, I will make the move. Subscribe for more Thogden reacts. See you all in a bit. Bye-bye.